Welcome to Republic Football. I'm Carl. With me as always is Dave, and back to the Premier League podcast. We're entering the final weeks. It's getting really interesting now. And it was a strange weekend because it's a weekend where Spurs decided they didn't want to win the title. United and Liverpool decided maybe we don't want top four. And Arsenal were like, hey, we can actually get back in this.
Well, I'm not quite sure that's the thought process that went through all the teams. Spurs did actually not turn up on Friday against West Ham.
It was a strange game though, because like you'd expect it to be like one of those games where like you see the result and you go, oh, West Ham just sat back and hit the one to break. They matched them. They were as good as Spurs.
Spurs never really created anything brilliant. They didn't look like Spurs have looked for the last 3 or 4 months. They looked poor. So from that point of view, they did almost give up on the title race there. They didn't really do an awful lot, and there was no just no impetus from them. And the fact that they were, a win would have put them 1 point behind Chelsea, put a little bit of pressure on. It's just another version of the Spurs bottling sensation that happens every season around the same time now.
2 years in a row, but they were left needing Middlesbrough to get something against Chelsea, and that was never going to happen.
Yeah, poor old Middlesbrough. They started pretty well. In the Premier League, and now they're relegated again back down to the Championship.
I've seen a lot of Middlesbrough fans and former Middlesbrough players blaming Karanka because they're saying his style was too defensive. He didn't set us up well in the summer. He was doing a decent job up until Christmas.
I think he started to, before he got sacked, 4 or 5 weeks before that, they weren't particularly getting the results, but they were playing much better than they have since they sacked him. I think it's another one of those where a manager's got sacked, it's a knee-jerk reaction, and if they kept hold of him, they probably would have been okay.
The thing I don't understand is, if they were going to sack him, why didn't they bring someone else in? There wasn't the best options, but there was likes of Pardew was available. He's a Premier League proven manager. He might have been able to get them out of it. Okay, he wasn't great with Palace, but he could turn them around.
I think at the end of the day, you got to look at the owners really and say, well, Steve Gibson has a very good reputation as an owner at Middlesbrough, but I think they just made the wrong decision with Karanka. They blamed him for everything, and sometimes you got to look at the players you have and say, well, is this good? Are this bunch of players good enough to beat the teams that we're coming up against?
Arguably, the biggest shock of the weekend was Hull getting battered by Sunderland. No one saw that coming because Hull they were on the rise recently, and now they're back in the relegation battle.
Well, I was going to say I could actually see it coming, because every time a team gets relegated, they tend to go out the next week and have a great result. Yeah. It's like all the pressure is off and they just play free-flowing football, and that's what happened. And Sunderland have been without doubt the worst team in the league this season, but they stepped up, and Hull didn't really. I think Hull kind of expected them to be a walkover, and you can't do that in the Premier League, even against the worst team in the league.
It's made the relegation battle interesting between Hull and Swansea. There's a few other teams that could get in there depending on the results next week.
Yeah.
Like if Hull and Swansea both win and the likes of Palace and Burnley lose, then we're set up for a great final day. It's going to need an extraordinary set of circumstances for anyone else to be dragged into it, but hopefully it does, for the sake of a great final day, like the day when Birmingham went down. Alex McLeish thought they were safe, and at the very last kick of the game, pretty much they went down.
Pretty much the greatest relegation of all time.
Yeah, you want another one of those. You want 3 or 4 teams to be involved in, not just 1 or 2. And it could even be settled at the weekend. Like if Hull lose and Swansea win, game over pretty much. And then you've got the top 4 race, which, as I mentioned already, Man United don't seem to want it, Liverpool don't seem to want it, because they worked really hard to drop points at the weekend.
No, Man United came up against an Arsenal team who were just better than them. Been saying all season, Man United are papering over their cracks with this big unbeaten streak, but most of it's draws. So I think they're not the team they're kind of letting on that they are. And with Liverpool, they came up against a team whose attitude was, they went out, like Southampton went into that game not trying to win it, just trying not to lose, and they played so defensively. I don't think they created a proper goal scoring chance in the whole game. Simon Mignolet had the easiest game, except for the fact he handled the ball outside the box. But apart from that, he didn't really have an awful lot to do, because Southampton, they just didn't want to play football. They just wanted to build a wall.
I tweeted after watching the game that you have to feel sorry for Southampton fans watching that dreadful brand of football all season long. Like, how bored after tits must you be watching that football?
Yeah, and it's creeping more and more into the Premier League. And I know we had a discussion about this the other day. I think it's really damaging the Premier League. The Premier League's reputation. You don't see it when you watch Bundesliga. You don't see it when you watch La Liga. Teams are just basically setting up a 10-man defence against some of the bigger teams.
But teams do that against teams they're scared of. You see it in Champions League all the time. Like PSG did it against Barca. Just Barca found a way through.
A little bit, but in terms of league, this is new in the Premier League the last couple of seasons. It never happened before to the extent. You might have a team, say, playing 5 at the back instead of 4, but now it's actually becoming like a back line of 6. You know, with a 3 players ahead of that, but very tight in behind, and then one striker standing on the halfway line waiting for the ball to be booted up the pitch. It's not good football, and it's not good football in practice.
Well, I've thought it for years. I know it's never going to happen, but I think any team who plays that disgusting defensive, really boring, go out to play for a draw style of football, you know, the way Chelsea won the Champions League.
Yeah.
Any team who plays like that, they should be instantly docked 10 points from the league because they're bringing the game into disrepute. Anyone who's not a football fan who wants to get into football starts watching that and go, actually, this is all rubbish. I don't want to watch this.
I think that there's a point there. I mean, I just say it's never going to happen. I think there's a lot of people will argue with that.
Yeah.
But the point is, you want to watch football for entertainment.
Yeah.
And if you watch a team come out and just defend and basically block the goal, build a wall, have no desire to score goals or win the game. And listen, it's goals that are entertaining in football. It's not last minute tackles or great defensive play or good passes. Those all add to it, but it's goals that you want. It's goals that get you off your seat.
Yeah.
So when a team comes out has no desire to win a game whatsoever and they just want to get a 0-0 draw and bore the pants off everybody, it's making the game less desirable, and it will eventually drive fans away.
Yeah, it can only harm the game playing.
Can you imagine in an NBA game a team coming out and saying, right, well, what we're going to do is we're going to sit defensively and we're going to play so that the other team can't score points. There's rules against it in the NBA.
Yeah, they need to do something about it because it's disgusting how many teams do it and get away with it. But at the same time, the bigger teams have a responsibility of finding a way to break it down because, you know, the really big teams do it. As I mentioned, Barcelona did it against PSG. PSG set everything out. Some of the best players in the world trying to do it, and they couldn't because Barca were too good.
But again, I don't think they were playing basically a 10-man defence. I think they were playing maybe 6 at the back and trying to hit Barca on the break. Whereas there isn't that. What happens in the Premier League is just super defence. And even Mourinho's been guilty of doing it as well. He's done it at all the big teams this season.
It's pretty
Didn't do it at Arsenal.
Mourinho's go-to thing, but
actually tried to do it on Sunday against Arsenal, but it was a lucky goal from about 35 yards from Xhaka.
He did it against Liverpool at the start of the season. Liverpool were high flying at the very start of the season.
Yeah.
But it's not good. But switching over to top 4 race, how do you think that's going to go? What's your prediction for that now? Because we made predictions a couple of weeks ago. I believe mine was for it to be Chelsea, Spurs, Liverpool and Arsenal. Yours was, I think, just Man City switched with Arsenal.
Yeah. Well, at the moment, obviously, it's like Chelsea and Spurs have got their places in the Champions League pretty much sewn up. It's Liverpool, Man City and Arsenal for me. It's between them. I don't think United can get in, especially United have to play Spurs this weekend. I think that's going to be a very tough game for them. If they draw that, they're so far behind, they're not going to get in the top 4.
The one thing is though, like how will Spurs pick themselves up after pretty much throwing away the title?
Well, that's it, but they have to bounce back and do something. However, last year when they were beaten and they had no chance of winning the league, they basically just went on holidays.
Yeah.
They didn't really get any good results at all. So, for me, I think a lot of it depends on Arsenal. I mean, they're playing tonight against Southampton. If they win that game away to Southampton, they've got 3 games left, and if they win them all, they will finish in the top 4.
Yeah.
Liverpool are in a good position at the moment, but again, they need Man City to slip a little bit because it's a false good position because City have a game in hand.
Yeah.
I still think my top 4 in order a few weeks ago when we gave the predictions was Chelsea, Spurs, Liverpool, Man City, and I think now I'd flip Man City and Liverpool and have Liverpool finish 4th. I think.
Well, actually, I'm actually going to stick by my prediction, even though it sounds ridiculous, and I know if anyone's listening, they're going to be saying this guy's crazy. But I still think it's going to be Chelsea, Spurs, Liverpool, and Arsenal because Number one, I don't think City are very good.
Yeah.
They're going to slip up. They've had a little bit of a blip. They've seen it got better since Gabriel Jesus has come back. But I still think City are going to slip up. I still think United aren't good enough. And then I think Arsenal, like, they're the masters of sneaking into it. They've done it so many times in recent years. And they're on a bit of a boost now. Wenger's changed the system a little bit. They're getting a little bit stronger.
Just looking at their games to go, I think, you know, they're playing teams with nothing to play for. Even like Southampton tonight, having put in that performance against Liverpool on Sunday, I reckon Southampton are going to roll over for Arsenal today.
Could do, yeah.
So, but the fact is, if Arsenal win their games, they will finish in the top four, because I think they'll catch Liverpool and go ahead and buy a point. Maybe I could be wrong on that.
Yeah.
But they're definitely, they've 12 points at the moment to play for. Liverpool only have 6 points to play for, and I think Liverpool are 5 points ahead of them.
Yeah, it's a strange one. I do think Arsenal could sneak in there. I kind of wanted Arsenal to sneak in there last minute, the last day, just to make the final day really interesting. Let us know in the comments what you guys think. Who do you think is going to finish top four? Is it going to be as it is? Are Man United or Arsenal going to sneak in there? Surprise entry from somewhere else?
I just pulled it up here. So Arsenal have 4 games left. They can finish 12 more points if they win all their games, which will leave them on 75 points.
Yeah.
Liverpool are on 70 points. So Liverpool need to win their 2 games and they'll qualify for Champions League.
Okay.
If they don't, Arsenal win all their games, then Arsenal will leapfrog them.
Yeah.
Basically. City have 3 games to go. They're on 69 points, so a point behind Liverpool. So again, they can finish on 78 because of their 3 games. So they should, if everybody wins all their games, it should go Man City, Liverpool, Arsenal and Man United in the top 6.
But then comes the question of whoever doesn't get in the top 4. Like, just say Celta Vigo make an amazing comeback on Thursday, you know, don't get Europa League, and then, you know, they don't get top 4. Surely questions have to be asked of Mourinho. Similarly with Klopp, if Klopp doesn't make top 4, that was Liverpool's priority this season, and he's failed in his first full season. Every decision this season's been his decision. You can't blame Rodgers taking the first half of the season. Is he in trouble? Pep, similarly, he came in tasked to win the Champions League, never mind the league, and he failed miserably. Are any of those matters in trouble, do you think?
I've been saying this for a long time. Mourinho does not look happy at Man United. I don't think he's you know, we've all had jobs where we're not 100% happy going into work every day, and I think that's Mourinho at the moment. I think he'd jump at any chance to leave.
We know why he's not happy though. Luke Shaw.
It's Luke Shaw's,
It's Luke Shaw's fault.
Yeah. But no, I mean, we've had jobs and you go in and you don't want to be there and you're kind of looking for other jobs. You're on websites every day looking to see if there's anything coming up. And
I doubt he's doing that though. He's not like looking for them to go.
no, but what's happening is big teams are starting to look around for new managers, and like Inter Milan, for example, have already sacked their manager, and they're looking for a big name to bring in. Now, the rumours are Conte, but I wouldn't be surprised if they'd have Mourinho back.
That's a good shout because he's on record for really enjoying his time at Inter Milan, and he did really well at Inter Milan. He won Champions League there.
Yeah. I think, look, he's got a project at Man United where if he really, really, really gets stuck into it, I think he'd enjoy himself, but he looks miserable. He doesn't look like the Jose Mourinho who was manager at Chelsea and was happy. He looks a little bit like the end of his time at Real Madrid, where he knew he was going to get sacked and he knew he wasn't going to win the Champions League. You know, he was fighting with Barcelona every time they played. He doesn't look a happy man to me. In terms of whether they'd sack him, I don't think so, because they've pumped so much money into getting him there, and I think they need stability at the moment, United. Has he improved on Van Gaal? I think his style of play is worse. I don't understand why Manchester United fans are super happy with him when he's playing a worse style of football than Van Gaal played
before. I think the unbeaten streak, the supposed unbeaten streak, is papering over a lot of cracks. Because when you step back, oh wait, they drew with like Bournemouth, they drew with they drew with a lot of teams they shouldn't be drawing with.
Yeah.
And most of those draws coming at home, like it raises a lot of questions.
Old Trafford's not the fortress it used to be. Teams aren't afraid of it anymore.
Mourinho's never used to be. I think a lot of managers figured it out.
I think so. And then his style of play is very defensive for a top team. But moving on, I think Pep. I think Pep. There's 3 elements here with Pep. Number 1, he didn't realise how difficult the Premier League was going to be. He probably thought well, I'll go in there. I've got Man City, the richest team in the league. I've got some great players. I'll walk it.
Yeah.
And probably if you looked at last season and said if those teams play the same way, he would have been able to walk it. But nobody's played. Like Liverpool are up 15 points or something.
He's in a position now where if he doesn't have a good season next year, if he has a really bad season, his reputation plummets.
Yeah.
Like the first time he's had a tough challenge, a challenge he wasn't expecting, he failed miserably.
I'm right. Am I right in saying he's never finished outside the top 2 places in the league?
I think so.
And he's got to the Champions League
Same
semi-finals every
time he's been
season.
in charge, like one of the best Barcelona teams of all time, one of the best Bayern Munich teams of all time.
Yeah. No, we've said this on the podcast a load of times. Like he's had unbelievable. Like he's walked into teams in great shape.
Yeah.
But he's walked into Man City not at their peak.
Yeah.
Missing arguably their best player in Vincent Kompany all season. In terms of, because you can see the difference since he's come back. He's solidified them at the back. He's taken that John Stones issue out because they're just playing Otamendi with him. And to be honest, I think Pep internally will struggle with the fact that he's not being successful with Man City. The fact that his success is actually qualifying for the Champions League.
Yeah.
I think that'll bug him an awful lot.
He kind of has to make up for it next year.
Yeah, he definitely has. Like he has to hit the ground running next year. I mean, they hit the ground running this season. They won their first 5 or 6 games, but then teams started to figure them out and just start tearing them apart. But the owners are not going to sack. I don't think they'll sack him at the end of the season. If they were going to do that with Man City with these new owners, it seems you already know who's replacing them before the end of the season. So there's nothing like that yet. So I'd imagine they're going to keep Pep for next season, but if it starts to go badly, he'll be replaced mid-season. Coming to Klopp then, yeah, there's never been a Liverpool manager who, before Brendan Rodgers, who didn't win a trophy in his first couple of seasons. You could say this is Klopp's first full season, and he hasn't won a trophy. So next season there'll be a lot of pressure on.
Yeah.
If Liverpool don't get top 4 this season, he's under pressure. They won't sack him and he won't leave, but
I think Liverpool are the one team chasing top 4 who need top 4 the most.
Yeah.
Because if Liverpool get top 4 with Klopp as a manager and with big money behind them as being reported, Liverpool could be a superpower next year almost with the team they're going to have.
Yeah,
they're going to buy 3 or 4 really big players.
There's rumours circulating that they have a huge transfer kitty if they get the Champions League.
Yeah.
Now, the thing with Liverpool and Klopp is a top manager. He's a top draw for players around Europe. So if Jurgen Klopp comes in and he says, I'm with Liverpool, we've the Champions League, it's like all the history, all that sort of stuff. You've got a massive big stadium now with like 55,000 people every week. We're putting this team together. And we've got some great players. We've got Coutinho, we've got Mane, we've got Firmino, we've got Matip, we've got Manuel Neuer. If that was to happen, you have all these possibilities. Obviously, that was just a joke, Manuel Neuer. But if Liverpool had the Champions League, I think they would be able to go and sign top players. And there's going to be a lot of players wanting to move. Even from super clubs like Barcelona, Real Madrid, etc., because it's the World Cup next year.
Yeah, it'll be certainly interesting to see. And let us know in the comments below if you guys think any of those managers are going to be in trouble if they don't get top 4, if they don't get Champions League, because United could still finish outside top 4 and get Champions League. But for now, that's all we've got time for. This has been the Public Football. I've been Carl, he's been Dave, and we'll catch you next week.